Hello, and welcome to 2.5 Beards. Today is a very special video because yesterday, 2 days ago, I'm recording this on Tuesday, was Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day. And if you're like most people, you probably took a day off. And recently there's been this campaign to have a day on, where people encourage you to do things related to Dr. Martin Luther King. And this is a conclusion that I came to on my own last year, which I think may have been slightly after the start of that campaign, or I don't know when that campaign started. But last year was the year that I decided I'm going to do something on Dr. Martin Luther King Day and in fact, all national holidays that's related to that holiday, rather than just having another day off to read, to play video games, to do, holiday things. I decided I was going to do something, and I'm a writer, so I decided to write something. And in this case, I decided to make a YouTube video. It corresponded rather nicely with my normal YouTube duties. And that was an important step for me because I am of rather waspy descent, white Anglo-Saxon Protestant. One half of my family are WASPs, and the other half is all white Catholics. So honestly, I have not had a lot of friends of color, and I have not had a lot of experiences with people who are colored differently from me growing up, as many as other people that I know. And some people who know me growing up might say, well, you did, but not really, not very many. And not very many that were reflected upon. So it's a very important thing for me, and doing something on Martin Luther King Day last year for the first time really pushed me to start thinking about these things that have been bothering me for a long time, to finally start thinking about them. The things that were bothering me were that for all of my very liberal intents and purposes, I don't have a lot of experience with people of other races, and that hurts me as a person. That contributes to a lack of empathy as much as I might think it doesn't, for me to not be around people of different ethnicities, different backgrounds, and that's a problem. So this video is about doing something on Martin Luther King Day. It doesn't have to be something big, obviously. There are rallies in Spokane. I didn't go. I'm not really a marching person. In the future, perhaps I should be, because that's really what I ought to do if I'm serious about this. But I'm not there yet. I'm taking the first steps, and even making this video is hard, because I'm being honest about something that's hard to be honest about. And another point I want to make is that there is talk of this thing of color blindness. I've heard people say, America is colorblind. We don't see color anymore. Which there are two problems with this. One is that it's simply not true. Racism is alive and well. Duh. People still get treated differently depending on how they look, and whether they look different from other people in terms of their skin color, or in terms of their features, or body type, or any of those things that relate to ethnicity and racial background. Racial background, as much as, however true that is, that's kind of a different thing. Theories that race is more of a social construct than not, I think, is true. But in any case, so it's not true to say that we are colorblind. The other thing that's bad about that is because it smooths everyone into this sort of vague category of people. And in addition to that not being true, it makes us lose out on kind of a lot. Because America is a society full of people of different colors, backgrounds, religions, beliefs, and all those things. And that's what makes it special. That's what makes us cultured in a certain way. Cultured. That's not a very welcome thing to say, to mention the same sentence as America nowadays, but I will do it. That's what gives us perspective, is by living with, working with, being friends with people who are different from us. And so to say that we're colorblind is to imply that we don't have color, is to imply that we don't have different people in our society. and we miss out on quite a lot. Of course, also, the other thing it does is that it does not validify the suffering of people of color, the experience of people of color. It's kind of like, well, we're colorblind, so you really shouldn't talk about things that relate to your color, which again goes back to our it being not true. Those are very true things, and they're things we need to talk about and things we need to face as a country and as families and as friends and as individual people for us to not have racism anymore, for us to abolish racism. That's what needs to happen. For us to each individually be good people, that's what needs to happen. For us in the world to know how to live with others, that's what needs to happen. Dr. King didn't envision a society that would claim to be colorblind, because that's a society of automatons. That's kind of a little too Brave New World. He envisioned a society where people would walk around and look at one another and see the differences and say, you're different from me, but I respect and love you all the same. And if I dislike you, it's not because of the color of your skin. It's because of who you are as a person. And consequently, if I like you, again, it's because of who you are as a person and not because of the color of your skin. So our task now in this modern age is to work progressively forward and abolish all of these old tribalisms that fail to serve us any longer. Back when we had tribes and the world was dangerous, perhaps. That's an entirely different post. But now, with globalization, no. No. We don't need it anymore. We don't deserve it anymore. So, here's my question to you. What did you do on Dr. Martin Luther King Day? And what will you do next year? See you next week.